Hey guys, Phelan's a really interesting hero where you end up needing to make a lot of choices early on the first turn, and those can really be defining for you throughout the game. As we go through the picks, I'll kind of explain what my thought process was for the 2, 4, and 6 drop pick when we get to the actual turn that we unlock them. And yeah, I think that's kind of like the interesting way to say how to like play into it. But Phelan really encourages you to try and tavern tier up early. For your 2 drop, you kind of want the best minion that either has some type of linear scaling or it's just whatever the strongest body you can have. And that's why we took the Goose here. We didn't have any linear scalings, and it was just the best solid minion that we could pick from. You have a couple options with Phelan on starting around turns 4. Something that I think is really strong to do if you have a good 1-cost spell is you can level, play a 1-cost spell on turn 4, and then for 7 gold go to turn 4 and unlock your 4 drop on turn 5, and that's really strong. In our game here, we didn't have a 1-cost spell, so I ended up doing a double buy and going a more standard level up. But I guess just want to call out that that's definitely an option for you to do to just get that 4 drop earlier. Generally, with your 4 drop, you're looking for one of two things. You're looking for either some type of stabilization card or something that can get you a ton of value. Any type of just like AoE board buff would be a really strong value, and then what we ended up taking, which was Trigger as our 4 drop, ends up being a really solid choice that gives us the ability to have a stable minion that can let us level up into the late game. For the lesser trinket choice, something that's kind of hard with Phelan is you're really not able to take the premium trinkets if you're trying to rush level up. And I think with someone like Phelan, it is kind of the option to take a potentially subpar trinket for the ability that you're able to get your 6 drop on turn 8. And I think that's kind of generally your goal is you want to be getting that 6 drop before your greater trinket. The reason for that is one, you can kind of play into your 6 drop with the greater trinket selection, and also it's just the 6 drop itself is a really big tempo minion itself. We had a really strong turn 8 here where we ended up being able to triple our goose, and this made it with our lesser trinket that we ended up having 3 6 drops on turn 8, which is insane value. And then that kind of goes into why did I take the Foe Reaper here? Really, my thought process was because I did have Trigger as that solid 4 drop that could be a mid-game like tempo or in just beat stick, Nala wasn't as necessary. And generally, I would say if I didn't have a good 4 drop, I would have taken the Nala. And the reason for that is Nala is just a really good way to stabilize. However, because we had that 4 drop that was strong, I wanted to play a 6 drop that I thought could help me win the game. And that's what Foe Reaper really is. And that's also why I ended up taking the Greater Trinket that gives us the Mecha Demon Magnetics. The reason for that is having a Wind Fury cleave is one of the surefire ways to really win a game. Getting a really big cleave that can, potentially go 6 for 1 to start off a combat is absolutely insane, and probably like one of the few ways that you can actually compete with the power creep that's been going on in the game right now. You'll see on turns like turn 9 it ended up clearing like 5 minions, and from here we ended up just having a really strong lobby, and we were able to use a lot of the just tempo that we had with getting 6 drops. We were able to get stuff like the Whirl of Maddox, and from there we were able to just get a ton of spells, and with that able to do just typical tempo out things. Something that I guess is really important with the Phelan is with something like the Foe Reaper and having the spells, you can also reset your hero power when you go to turn 6, and that's why we ended up taking the Elise hero power, because it's kind of, if you think about the way that Elise works, it's 1 and then 2 gold to get like 6 drops with the position we were in, and normally those cost you 3 gold. So as soon as you get like your first 2 6 drops, we've already gotten our money back from the like spell costs there. But like we even had ways to potentially discover new hero powers with our Whirlomatics and everything from there. But really, I hope just kind of this seeing how to tempo out your early game from here kind of just shows like how important it is to aggressively level with Phelan. From here, just starting turn 10s on, we kind of had a board. We ended up finding some beatboxers, and from there you can kind of see what we're going to do, which is just get a bunch of magnetics going and transition into that very typical beatboxer magnetics board. I ended up not doing stacking. I probably could have. Something that's kind of cool with this greater trinket is because there's only 3 options for the Mecha Demon Magnetics. It's a little bit easier to get triples with them because you're fighting for 3 random magnetics, where generally if you have like a Discover magnetic, there's 4 of them. But really, the reason why I ended up not doing stacking in this game is we didn't have really the greatest magnetics generation. And on top of that, a lot of them times, like because of how low the lobby was, I think starting turn 11, all but 2 people were in like 1 death like losses. There wasn't really enough time for the magnetics to get going, and I wasn't sure if I would necessarily need to sell out of the board. We also already picked up a lot of really good tech units I didn't necessarily want to sell for the board space. We already had a Golden Bramble, which is like the best tech unit that you can have on the board. We had a couple Leroys that we ended up just kind of floating in and out of. We had Atrocity, which just works as a solid minion. And it's kind of like, do you want to swap your board out to play a subpar minion? And my thought process was, no, that's not worth it. Starting turn 12, we get the Golden Beatboxer. And from here, kind of my plan is just try to pick up the core magnetic end of turn stacks. Or not stacks, like magnetic comps. I end up missing one of the utility drones here earlier in the game, but I end up being able to pick it up here on turn 12 with the eyes, and from here we have a really good way to stabilize, and then from here the only thing that we really want to do is potentially sell out of the Whirlamatic for something like the Drakari. And the reason why you want to run Drakari is that ends up giving you a like exponential scaling to this comp. Generally, the way that this comp gets its buffs are you have the magnetic generation, and you use utility drone to give the buffs. Once you make utility drone golden, that's one like exponential scaling by doubling that, and then with the Drakari, you're able to get a second and quadruple your scaling on the magnets that you pick up through the game. So anyways, from here, very stable. We end up having a couple matches against the last guy. We end up something that's really important to do. You'll see we did on just now on turn 13 is that you want to untaunt your beatboxer, especially your biggest one first, and you really want to kind of go down the line as you get them. The reason for this is just having your taunt. It's vulnerable to something like a poison or a like Leroy running into it, something like that, and it's better to just have it untaunt and let it do the attacking. Kind of the thing that's important with these comps is recognizing what minions are attacking minions and what minions are fine to be like tauntable. So if you look at our comp, something like the Foe Reaper, you want to attack first because it doesn't get the cleave if it gets attacked into. Something like Bramble Witch is another, like it has to attack to get its effect. Something like Leroy, you're pretty comfortable with it being taunted and them just running into it. They're generally going to be doing something like us where they have attacking units going first, and if they're attacking into it, it's fine. Even the beatboxers here don't necessarily need to be up in the comp. It's fine for them to be the ones attacking rather than getting attacked into. Just like it doesn't really matter. Like they don't get anything off of them attacking. But the 2 minions in here that we really care about attacking are both the Foe Reaper and the Bramble Witch. Starting turn 14, we kind of noticed that we had like a relatively even comp with the opponent, and finding this the one spell, I forget what it's called, that like sets a minion self to 1 is really what sets us apart going into the last round. We both had pretty like equivalent scaling comps. I honestly think he kind of trolled with his getting divine shields because we start with cleave and he doesn't really have the best like anti-cleave tech. Like we're just gonna hit the divine shields off, but from here we're just able to outstat and out utility with the Bramble Witch, and that Golden Bramble Witch ends up being what wins us the game here. So thanks for watching. Good luck, guys. See ya. Bye.